In this video, I'm going to talk about skin smoothing. In skin smoothing, there's a more advanced technique I'll teach later called frequency separation. I usually teach that in Photo 3.4. This one's just a really basic version of it, and it can help. So skin smoothing, if you zoom in on your picture, she doesn't have bad skin, but there's a couple areas that maybe we could just smooth out here. Okay, and I want to remind you, people have pores, so we don't want to smooth out the skin so much that people look like mannequins, unless it's some kind of surrealistic thing. But for a portrait that's expressing who a person is, their personality, etc., we don't want to make them look super fake. Okay, so what we're going to do is a filter. So in the layers window, we have to go to our last background copy, the top one. So not color balance, but the last background copy, and this is one I did a clone stamping on. We're going to duplicate this one. So Command J. This is going to have the information from this layer, but in case I make a mistake, I can get rid of this new layer I'm making. And I'm going to double click the title here and rename it Skin Smoothing so that I know exactly what each layer is. Okay. So once I have that duplicated, the next thing I'm going to do is go to filter at the top of the screen. And I'm going to choose a blurring filter because that will soften. Okay, the best one to use is Gaussian blur. Now in Gaussian blur, you can zoom in. You can see the parts of the face. You don't want to go too strong. The whole person is going to get super blurry and it's not really usable there. So on mine, I'm just going to go down maybe till they're like around 2 pixels. It depends on your photo, the crop you've used, the resolution, and all of that. So yours may vary. Now the whole photo you're going to see is going to get blurry, and that's okay, because what I'm going to do after I click OK is I'm going to mask it. Okay, so we're going to layer and mask it similar to what we did with like the color balance and the eye whitening, but it's a slightly different process. First thing, I have to make sure the thumbnail is highlighted that I'm trying to mask. Then I'm going to find the layer mask button, which is down here at the bottom of the layer window. If I hover over it, it's going to tell me it's adding a layer mask. It's the third button that looks like a square with a dot in the center, or a circle. Then on my keyboard, I'm going to hold down the Option key. Very important. Hold down the Option key, click Add Layer Mask, this button, once. So you can see it added a little black layer mask next to the thumbnail of the photo. When I'm working, it's really important that I make sure that I stay on this black thumbnail, that I don't click on this or another layer, because the next thing we're going to do is start using a brush, and you'll actually be painting on your photo. See that? If you click off of the thumbnail for the layer mask. So I'm going to undo those things and go back here. Okay, so the little black cell. Then again, I'm going to choose my brush tool. So B for brush. It looks like this. Okay, I'm going to choose my settings at the top. So that's a little small. I could go a little bit bigger. And I do want the hardness pretty low because I don't want to see the edges of the brush. Okay, that's a pretty good size. Mode is going to be normal, opacity and flow are going to be 100. If this ends up looking too strong, you're not stuck, so don't worry. Okay, last step. This is a black layer mask, so I need a white brush to reveal the edit I've hidden. So over here, you have your default button for black to white. You also have this switch arrow that'll switch you between. Once you've set the color, your X key will also allow you to switch between the two. Again, I want a white brush in front, so that's white. Okay, then similar to what we've done before, I just start painting in the areas I want to see that edit. And I can already see it's a little bit too strong. Okay, and that is a mistake I'm revealing from underneath. I'm going to undo that. But I can modify the strength of it later. Okay, now if I make a mistake, so for example, I blur her eye. Okay, I can switch to a black brush here, and I can go back over that area. Okay, so mainly I've just softened like her cheek and a little bit of other areas. I can zoom in. If it ends up looking too strong, I can decrease the opacity, which I'm going to do. So over here under opacity, I can click on that and I can bring it down. What you should do to finalize, if you're happy with it, turn it on and off. Okay, and you can see it's just softening this area mainly right here. For my real one, I would go back and do some more to get some areas softer. And I'd also like clean up little things like this before you do the softening with either Clone Stamp or a healing brush or spot healing brush. One last thing, if you hold down your Option key and you click the little black and white thumbnail, it'll show you the areas that you've painted on the layer mask with white, and you can fill those areas in if you're missing holes or anything. And then you do Option on your keyboard and click the layer mask again to go back. And that's it.